Welcome back to the All About You podcast. And I'd like to just say that I'm very, very happy as today I have a returning guest, which I always love. Back in November 2022, my guest was Nina, and we were talking about her business as a creative business coach. And Nina is back with me today talking about a change, and she's now a singer-songwriter. And if you listen to the end of the podcast, you can hear Nina's beautiful song, Hometown. So, Nina, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Sheila. It's lovely to be back.
A lot of time has passed.
Yes.
You're writing your own music, you're back in the studio, and you're doing concerts. So you do have a background in music that goes back a long way. Can we just talk about where your love of music and particularly writing stems from?
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, the whole business coaching thing is still going on. I mean, that's, you've got to earn money. But I've always been a singer. Since, my mother would say I sang before I could talk. Started playing in bands from probably 17, 18 years of age. And I've never stopped. And the writing, I think it started with writing poetry. So from age 10, 11, 12, I wrote a lot of diaries. And I just, everything that happened to me in my life, and there's a lot happening as a teenager, of course, a lot of teenage angst. I wrote it down in my diaries, and they became poems. I think it was age 15, I found an acoustic guitar in my parents' attic. And I taught myself some chords, and I started to play around with the guitar, and then I put my poetry on music, and I started writing, and I started singing, and I started playing, and that's how it started. Really, late teenage years, I started writing songs, and I've never really stopped.
I love the fact that you said when you were going through your teenage years, you were writing in your diary, they then became poems, and then they became songs. I mean, that's like a natural progression.
Yeah, I mean, I still to these days, I write in my diary, and especially when you go through tricky times, things are happening, or you feel overwhelmed, you take your journal out and you write it down. At least I do, and often I write it down as poems as well, alongside it.
You are actually back in the studio now. You've released a couple of songs already on Spotify, iTunes, etc. Let's talk about some of those songs. What was the first song that you thought, I'm actually going to release this now?
It's been a long process, because I've been singing all my life, and I've been in bands all my life. But it's nearly 30 years now that I've been in bands. I've always been the girl in the band, the front woman, the singer. I did write songs, but I also sang a lot of covers. And I kind of, as I'm now in my 40s, I felt like it's time to really do something completely for myself, because as part of the band, it's always very democratic, and you have to sort of, come to an agreement with what you're going to record. I've recorded before with other bands, and I really felt like I want to create something that's totally me. So I'm in a band right now in Valencia, in a couple of projects, in fact. But my album that I'm writing this year is totally mine. So I'm the director, I'm the boss, and I write the songs, and I decide what's going on that album. That's where I am right now, and I've released 3 songs at the moment. They're on Spotify. I've given myself an artist name, which has been very scary for myself, and I still find it a little bit pretentious. But hey ho, I don't care anymore. I'm in my 40s, and why not? There's a lot of people that have given themselves artist names. Yeah, just a little bit fun, really.
But that's a big change, isn't it? As you say, from being part of a band, you had a huge support system there, everybody had their roles. Now you're the one in charge. It's like, okay, I've got complete creative control, how I want it to sound, what I'm trying to get across. That's a big step.
Yeah, but it's super creative, and it's incredibly satisfying to be able to write it, to come up with the idea. I'm not doing it completely by myself. I'm working with a producer, a very talented man called Gelder Borges, and he's been helping me greatly. So he turns my little songs into great big anthems. Sometimes I'm like, wow, that's great. That's sounding incredibly professional. So yeah, I do have a little bit of a team around me, but it's me who decides, which is it's also me who pays.
Nina, the first song you released is called Hometown.
Yes.
Can we talk about that song?
Well, Hometown is very, and it will probably resonate with a lot of our listeners here. It's about moving away from where you come from, or where you were born, or maybe your hometown, and then having this strange sense of homesickness for that place where you're from, having this sort of melancholic, nostalgic feeling about this place, and then you go back, and it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. You feel like, what has I've changed, but this place hasn't changed, and I feel so out of place here. It's lovely to see everybody. It's lovely to see the place that you grew up in or that you've spent a lot of time in, and then you go back and you're like, my goodness, can I go? Can I leave?
So where was your hometown?
Well, I grew up in Emmen, which is a city in the north of the Netherlands, close to the German border. And that's that's probably my hometown. It's where I spent the first 18 years of my life. And then I moved around. I spent time in Groningen, which is a city near Emmen. And I spent time in Amsterdam, Rotterdam. And then I moved to Scotland, where I spent 12 years of my life in Aberdeen. And now I'm here. So, yeah, you pick up all sorts of habits and experiences, and they shape you. They shape you. The people that you meet, the languages that you learn, the different cultures that you have to adapt to, and especially moving around, and a lot of expats will feel that way, I think. You lose some of your own culture. You keep some of it, but you change, and you kind of become a blend of lots of places that you've spent time in, and also speaking different languages. Right now I speak 3 different languages daily, which is weird, but it shapes you. And then when you go back to the place where you grew up in, and maybe your parents are still there, your old friends are there, family, you go back there and you feel like a strange fruit.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that is so true. When you leave your home country, and obviously we are both living in Valencia, this is not our home country, let alone our hometown. I always say, I think you become a different person, and you have to become a different person when you move to a different country. Different cultures, just a general way of life, and then throw in the language as well. You do become a different person. And I agree 100%. The times I've gone back, and I just think, okay, the buildings are still there, some of the people are still there, but you just don't feel you fit in, you don't feel a connection.
No, and then one of the lyrics in the song is you're like an old worn coat, and it no longer fits. It feels at first you arrive and you're happy and you feel like, oh, I'm back home, and it feels like an old worn coat. But then after 3 days you're like, this coat is starting to get a little bit tight, I need to leave.
I love that. That is great, saying it feels like an old comfortable coat, and then after a couple of days it no longer fits.
No longer fits.
I understand 100% what you're saying there, and that's no disrespect to our home countries, our hometowns. It's just we have changed.
I actually, when I wrote the song, I was like, oh, I hope my parents won't feel upset about it, as if I don't enjoy coming home. I always enjoy coming home and seeing my family and spending time with them. But it's more that you just feel like you no longer belong in that place. So it's like, it's a joy to see everybody, but it's also a joy to leave again. Till next time.
Hometown was written about literally your hometown and the changes. So very, very personal song. Where do you get your inspiration from songs?
Oh, all the drama in my life.
Oh, the drama! Oh my God!
No, it's like I said, it all the way through my life. When I go through, big changes, transitions, big events in your life, I tend to write stories, poems, songs, and it's an expression of my turmoil inside me. I also write happy songs, but I do like a sad song. So it's a lot of my songs are autobiographic, or they take some inspiration from what I've gone through myself, but also I write a lot of songs about what I see in other people. So maybe breakups or human behavior that I observe. I like observing people, naming it, and then putting it into words that make people go like, "Oh my God, that so resonates. I so recognize." I guess that's what I like to do with my songs, is to touch a nerve or touch somebody and go like, "Oh, this is really beautiful, and this resonates with me, and this means something to me."
So I've got an image of you now sitting having a coffee somewhere
Mm.
with a notebook and a pen,
Mm.
observing the people around you, and then maybe focusing on one person or a couple of people, creating a story about their conversation, the emotions.
It could be like that. It's more often it's maybe a conversation I've had with a friend, or a story I've heard about somebody. Recently, the father of a friend of mine passed away, and I before he passed away, it inspired me because I knew the man well, and a poem came to me, and I wrote it down, and I sent it to him before he died, which it meant a lot to him. And then I was like, this is actually quite a good poem. And I found some chords on the guitar for it, and I wrote a song with those words. I haven't released it yet. It's still kind of, raw, but I might. And that's how things are created. That's how I do things. Something that touches me is something that I hear, something, I don't know, life, things in life. Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly plenty of material out there, isn't it? You're
Totally.
never going to run out of material.
No, no, and I mean I've written other things as well, sort of more happy things. Or recently, I also played together with a friend of mine, Tony, who is a guitarist, and he always comes up with really kind of cheerful melodies on the guitar, and he says, "Oh, I've written a tune. Can you write something for it?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a happy tune. I'm not sure if I can write a happy song," but I did the other day, and it was about Instagram and how much we post about our lives, and it's become kind of a tongue-in-cheek country rockabilly type song about, look at me. It's called "Look at Me." I post so much, but you don't really know anything about my life, but look at me. And it's become a happy song. So yeah, I also write about stuff that we all go through.
Nina, you are a musician as well. So you play acoustic guitar?
Yeah, that's about it. I don't play much. No,
Okay.
I play. I've got an electric guitar, so it's basically my tool to write and to play. On stage, I play guitar, and I play tambourine.
Well, that's okay.
Harmonica. I play harmonica a little
Oh my
bit.
God, I mean, harmonica's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you at home? Do you sort of say, okay, family, I'm just going to take myself off into the bedroom for half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get something down, or I need to get the guitar out, something swirling round in my brain, and okay, I've got to get this down before it goes?
Yeah, sometimes. I do prefer to write and play when everybody's out. So my family's just gone for 5 days now, so I'll probably spend some time in the home writing and playing.
Nina, you've got 2 boys. Do they think you're the coolest mum ever?
No, they are 11 and 13. They just want their dinner on the table, and no, they're lovely. It's very normal for them to see me lugging around guitars and amplifiers and going off to bands and going to gigs, and they come to my concerts sometimes, but they're usually a little bit bored after a while. But I do include them in the songwriting as well. When I've written something and I've recorded it, I love to play it to them first and say, like, "What do you think, boys? Does anything need changing? What do you like it? Is this?" And then sometimes, especially my 13-year-old, he is a bit like, "Oh, that's cringe, Mom. You can't say that in that lyric. That's rubbish. You should say something else." And then I listen.
So they can be a bit of a harsh critic sometimes.
Yeah, but I need that.
They're quite happy to tell you the way it is without sugarcoating
Absolutely, because I do need that, because you get carried away sometimes a little bit when you work on your own and you think you're the bee's knees with your music and your lyrics, and then you need a bit of a mirror sometimes from your children who say like, "No, you can't say that," or "This is rubbish."
So what was it like when you decided that you were going to go into the recording studio and get some of this stuff down? As you say, you played back in bands, years and years ago. You've been writing poetry and songs for a long time. But the process of saying, okay, I'm now going to go into the studio, I'm going to get this stuff down. What made you do that?
Well, it's interesting. Last year, actually through Instagram, I stumbled on a songwriter, Andrea Stolpe. She's an American, and she was offering a songwriting retreat in England. And I was like, I don't know, I have this sort of spontaneous excitement and going, I need to go. I don't care what it costs. I need to go there. And so I looked her up, and I looked up a website. It was, it was a bit pricey, but I was like, I really want to go there. I need to go there. So I did. In September, I went for a week to England, and I spent a week writing songs with other musicians from all over the world, and it was so inspiring. Which is also when I had the guts to give myself an artist name, which is Nina Mae Harper, and I announced that, which is quite a big thing for me. And then I came home and I was like, I'm going to create a solo album. I want to do this. It's always been a dream of mine to have an album with just my songs. So that was the catalyst, I think. It just gave me a lot of confidence and inspiration that I could go out and do that. So I started a crowdfunding campaign, and I've raised some money through it to get it started, because obviously it's not free to hire a producer and go into the studio and do all of that. I managed to release the first single, which was Hometown, at the end of December. And I've released 2 since. I'm really adamant that I'm going to have 10 to 12 songs released by December this year.
Nina, can we just go back? Artist name Nina Mae Harper. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
ChatGPT.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were going to give me some wonderful story. It's your grandmother's name? Or...
No, not at all. Nina is my name, obviously, but my surname is Eggens, which is the Dutch way to pronounce it. Now, if you pronounce it in English, it's Eggens, which is too, we've just had Easter. I don't really want to be related to eggs or anything like that. I just don't really think my surname is very sexy as an artist name. So I asked ChatGPT to come up with a whole list of suggestions for a name that was a bit sort of country Americana, folky sounding, and I chose this one.
You made the decision you're going to go into the studio. So you're inspired after the songwriting course in the UK. Mm-hmm. What was that process like, walking into that recording studio the first day?
I've been in studios before. It's not, it's basically just a small room.
Yeah, but you're on your own now.
Well, the way it worked, it's after the retreat, I was very inspired, and I literally bashing them out, the songs. The words came, the chord progressions came, and I wrote quite a lot of material. And I met this producer. I knew him from a school that my children used to go to. He's a Portuguese producer, and he lives in Nácara, nearby Valencia. I WhatsApped him and I said, listen, I know you're a producer. Would you like to help me? I've got all this material and I've got this ambition to write this album and to make this album. I need help recording it. And so he said, yeah, okay, cool. Let's. This is what it costs, and let's meet on Zoom, on WhatsApp, a video call, and we did. And he said, what do you want? What style is it that you want? What are you thinking of? So we talked. I sent him the raw recording that I did on my phone of Hometown. And he said, what do you have in mind? What kind of feeling? And he wanted to read the lyrics to get a feel of what the story was, what the message was of the song. And then he did his magic. He just came up with different instruments. He plays a lot of instruments. He came up with a rough mix or a rough idea for the song based on my composition. And then once we were happy with that, he said, okay, come to the studio now. And I came to the studio and I recorded the vocals on top of what he had arranged musically. And then once we're happy with that, he does the mixing and he makes sure that everything sounds really cool and really good. We might add a little bit more detail musically, some little jingles and jangles and extra voices, harmonies. And then when we're happy, he does the mastering, which is the final step of recording, and then it's ready for release.
Have you, I mean, this is probably a bit of an old-fashioned question. It's gone out on iTunes, Spotify, and we're going to put links to all your music anyway. But did you at any point come away with like a CD?
I will, but not yet. What I want to do is at the end of the year, once I have enough songs to make a body of work, an album, I will print CDs. I've actually, last week, my husband and I have set up our old 30-year-old hi-fi set again in the living room, and we've put all our CDs on display, and we've been listening to a lot of the CDs that we have. It's lovely, and the sound quality is so much better than Spotify. So yes, I will print, I don't know, a small amount, maybe 50 or 100 albums on CD to sell.
It's interesting you say that because I got rid of a lot of my CDs, but I did keep all my favourites. And I went out and bought a little CD player, and I'm always playing those old CDs. I've got classic, I've got pop, and everything in the middle. I love a CD.
I think they're coming back. They're coming
Do
back.
you think
Yeah,
so?
I do think people are. We're so used to Spotify and iTunes and all that, which is great for quickly looking something up. So many times I'm listening to something, I don't even know what I'm listening to. It's the next one and the next one and the next one, and finding something back is not easy either. And then there's obviously the big debate or the big thing that Spotify doesn't pay us. You have to have millions and millions of listeners to earn anything. Meanwhile, we're paying I think I pay like 18 euros a month now for a family account for Spotify. People can listen to my music for free. And I've been paying, thousands on recording my music, and everybody else do the same kind of thing. For the general public to listen to music, they don't realize how much we invest in creating that work as artists. And, through Spotify, you don't earn anything. I've therefore also released it on Bandcamp. I don't know if you know that website. Bandcamp is a website, a platform where artists also release their music, but you can buy them. You can download the MP3s on there for like 99 cents or something, or you can download the whole album and pay them, a tenner for it or whatever. It's a much better platform for artists earning something.
I mean, it's interesting you brought this up because I wasn't going to bring this topic up because it does seem that all the power is given to us, the listener. As you say, you can pay 18 euros and all your family have got Spotify all over the house in all their devices. But you, as a musician and an artist, you're paying all this money for producing, recording, etc., etc., and we
don't see those 18 euros.
Exactly. We're paying peanuts for access to music all over the world from as many artists as you want.
And you take it for granted. I take it for granted. But it's the CEO of Spotify who's making all the money. Most of the artists of Spotify are, people like myself who don't have that many listeners yet. But we are investing a lot of money into creating the work and creating the original work so that people can listen to it within their subscription that they have.
I mean, I've had some interesting conversations with people about music, like on platforms like iTunes, Spotify, and an interesting thing came out is that people are still very interested to talk about. Just found this artist is really great. You need to listen to this artist. People are still suggesting types of music, genre or artists to other people via word of mouth. That is still out there. As opposed to somebody listening to something on Spotify and saying, okay, send me something similar. The fact that word of mouth is still going.
Always, in all sorts of things, whether it's books or films or theatre or holiday destinations, word of mouth is very powerful. I mean, I use Spotify a lot as well. If I found something, I share the artist with somebody else, like, oh, this is great, listen to that. Or sometimes, I play a cover of some artist in my live performances, and I share it with my fellow musicians so that we know what we're playing. It's a really useful tool. It's just, I think it's good for people to be aware that the artists on it they don't earn anything.
So, have you got any artists that you feel inspired by, or that you think, oh, I'd love to be able to sort of do this kind of music that this person is producing?
Well, I have a very broad taste. I mean, my biggest influences, I think, have been because of my parents, like the likes of Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, blues, kind of folky stuff. So that's always been my influence. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I discovered a female artist called Eileen Jewell. Not many people will have heard of. She played in Valencia last year, which is great. But she plays kind of country bluesy stuff, which is she's great. She's got a lovely little band, and I think that's the sort of music I would like to be playing more of, and also the type of venues that she plays in, smaller venues. Yeah, that would suit me.
You're currently writing the rest of the material for your album you want to release by the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on in your world in respect of music?
Well, I have two bands here in Valencia. I have my band that I've been playing with for the past 6 years already, I think, nearly 7. It's called Treble, all Spanish. I sing in English. And that is a country band, country folk band with violin and banjo and mandolin. So that's my band, which I keep going. It's lovely. They're really good guys. And then I've recently started a duo with Tony Saiz, who's a guitarist from Valencia, and we play guitar and I sing, and with him I play more original stuff. I'd also love to play living room concerts, so more like, because especially when you're a duo, just for people to hire us for a party in the living room or in the garden or something like that. It doesn't always have to be in the bar.
Oh my God, I love that. People do that?
Yeah, there was actually somebody, a mum from my kid's school the other day, a Spanish mum, said like they do that. They club together, a group of girls. They throw in some money in the hat and they order a band in for a party, which I thought was a brilliant idea, because they said that it's much better than putting Spotify on.
I'm sitting here with my mouth wide open. What a brilliant idea.
It's great. And especially with, the two of us, we have all our gear. We just rock up with our guitars and our speakers and we plug and play. And we can sing happy birthday.
Nina, where can people find out about all the things you're doing?
Well, I'm quite active on my Instagram account at the moment, Nina Mae Harper. So you can look me up there. I put little videos, little posts, stories, and the posters of the gigs that I have coming up. Yeah, that's the best place probably to be.
You're still running your creative business coach business.
Yeah.
You're the mum of 2 boys. Mm-hmm. You're creating all the music and lyrics for your
and I'm a tour guide.
New album, and a tour guide. So a tour guide in Valencia?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I cycle around Dutch people.
Okay, you're busy.
Yeah.
You're busy. And I guess all these different hats and you wear and plates you spin gives you plenty of material.
It does, and I love it. I love variety, and it suits me very well, this portfolio career. I love it.
So, Nina, is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't?
I think, well, one of the things that I thought about as I was driving here, I thought, well, the music has also been a great way of integrating in places. So I've lived in different cities in the Netherlands and in Scotland, and then coming here. And I realized that music and bands have always been a fantastic tool to integrate. Other people, they go to games nights or they go to language exchanges. I just realized that every time I moved, the first thing I did was find a band. And it's always been a fantastic way of feeling at home and settling down. And especially here in Spain was the the most difficult thing because of the language. But I found this band, Treble, quite soon, 6 months in. And because they don't speak a word of English, I had to speak Spanish and explain my songs to them in Spanish. And I don't know if you're aware, but in Spain, they don't use the G chord or the A chord or the D chord. They use do, re, mi, fa, sol. So they go like, oh, it's a sol chord. And I'm like, what's a sol chord? I don't know. So there's another learning curve I had. But yeah, it's just, tying in with the hometown song, so to say. It's I think the music has always been a fantastic way of finding new people in new
Finding
places.
your people, finding your tribe.
Yeah.
So Nina, I wish you all the luck with the new album. You've set yourself a target, and you're a creative business coach, so I guess you're encouraging yourself, are you?
I guess I'm walking the talk, yeah, because I mean, as a business coach, I help other creatives find their audience and carve their little place in the world out with their art. And I'm doing the same thing. So I'm trying to build my audience, create a following, do some crowdfunding, and getting my art out into the world.
I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, totally.
Nina, thank you so much for coming back and being returning guest, which is absolutely brilliant. And I'll put all the links to your Instagram and your creative business coaching business as well, so that you can obviously help other creatives.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you all the luck with your new album.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the conversation. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe for future episodes on whatever platform you are listening to. It is free. And please share this podcast conversation. And if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com, and let's make this the year for you to share your story.
Hello, my old friend. It's been a while. I know I've changed. You look the same. I don't show up much these days, but I do care. Still, when we meet again, don't wanna be there. Touchdown, familiar ground. You're like an old worn coat. So long, hometown. Gotta hit the road. Touchdown, familiar ground. You're like an old worn coat. The oak tree, the bus stop. I know you so well. Someone please listen. I've got stories to tell. Coming home, but do I belong? Good old times. Tomorrow I'm gone. Touchdown, familiar ground. You're like an old da da da.